Welcome to Indulge Fest and this discussion with someone all of us in India love and know really well already, Chef Sarah Todd, model, author, international chef, restaurateur, TV host, speaker, and entrepreneur. Sarah wears many hats and she wears all of them really well, and we're thrilled to have her with us today. So Sarah, welcome.
Thank you, Primrose. I'm so excited to see your face. It feels like this, familiar face that, I've just been missing India terribly over the last 12 months. And I'm so excited to be chatting with you today.
Okay, so let's start by jumping straight into the theme of this edition of Indulge Fest, which is summer. And summer, of course, in terms of food. So Australia truly celebrates the summer in food, right? So tell us a little about that. You're there, so you're, I suppose, well placed in many more ways than one. How different is it also from how we approach Indian, food in summer as you know it?
I think globally in summer, everyone has their own way of creating food, and that comes a lot down to the produce that's available and the way that we eat because of that. So for us, summer is we're outdoors, there's lots of an abundance of fresh seafood, and I think right now more so than ever we've been really following that farm to fork, in terms of finding that local produce and supporting the local farmers and creating really fresh summer dishes that you're not really overly working these ingredients because they're so incredible on their own. So we've been, eating so much seafood lately. My son and I are obsessed, and we've got lots of beautiful different types of local fish. There's Southern Rock lobster for those days when you want to indulge, and lots of even meats and different vegetables that we just get out into the barbecue and grill them up. So for us, it's just barbecues, grills, really summery, really fresh.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely delicious. And you spoke about Farm to Fork. And of course, in October last year, you took over as host of Farm to Fork, which is a widely popular cooking series, but something really different from your usual travel-based shows. So what interested you in particular about this show? And did it, I think you went out to different places. So did it bring some sort of normalcy back to your life in, lockdown and the whole period we are in?
Yeah, well, it's quite shocking. I've actually explored more of India than I have of my own country. I've been to, I don't know, I think I need to count the actual amount of cities that I've been to in India, but it's at least, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 different cities in India. So this was an opportunity for me to come back to Australia and just spend that time discovering what my country has to offer. And it's been so incredible to do that. And we're so lucky here. There's beautiful pasture lands. There's so many beautiful destinations to visit. And I got to go around to different farmers and just experience what Australia has to offer. So it was a really beautiful thing to do. And I felt like I needed to, because I was becoming more Indian than I was Australian in the end.
No, I think that's something that a lot of us tend to do. We don't look at our own backyards. And I think that is one of the great things of the lockdown, where we've been able to at least go and discover, places around us. So it's great that you could also add the food element, I suppose, to that. So, that's a double privilege in its own way. I also want to say you've been in Melbourne now since the beginning of the lockdown, and we've seen so much on Instagram of your son and you cooking, bonding. But there's also the whole thing you're speaking of your connection to India, and a lot of the food that you show does have Indian influences and that sort of thing. So tell us a little more about how your time in India has really influenced your food across the board. The way we see it now.
So when I first started planning Antares in Goa, my restaurant, I started writing that menu when I was in Australia, and it was incredible. When I landed in India, I literally got that recipe sheet or the menu and tore it in half. I was like, this is just not going to work. I truly believe wherever you are, it's important to travel, experience, and see what's going on. And I was just blown away with the different techniques and the incredible like flavors that get put together, and just how diverse and different the cuisine is. And from a French background of being trained in traditional cooking, going into a country where it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's all by the hand, it's by the love and by the feel of the food. And I was blown away. I was like, wait, let me try and write this down. And you can't write it down. It's just, it really is got to come from within. So in the early days in India, it took me a lot of time because I didn't grow up with these flavors. I didn't grow up with these techniques. So I slowly, over the last 6 or 7 years, started to take on a bit more knowledge wherever I went. And now, honestly, nearly all of the dishes that I cook have a little influence from India, whether it's spice or a technique, even if it's butter chicken, smoking it, you know, with the charcoal and these little things that you can take elements of that and use it in any cuisine. So I feel like there's definitely this little influence of India in everything that I do.
Yeah. And does your son like Indian food and, you know, these influences? Because you're doing a lot of cooking, right? That with him. And I also want to ask you, what are the challenges and the joys of actually cooking for and with children? Because you're doing such a lot, you're so hands-on with that. And finally, what in this question only, finally, what is your sort of go-to kid-friendly dish that is also very, like, you know, summer when you eat it?
My son, believe it or not, chef's son, is very picky and very fussy when it comes to different foods. It's not that he does, it's limited. It's not limited in the things that he eats, but he's very specific in what he likes. So he tends to like dishes where things are quite separate, but he's obsessed with massaman curry. He's, you know, there's a couple of these dishes from India that he's completely obsessed with. So it's just, it's been the last lockdown and the time in Australia together. Cooking at home has made him advance in his palate. And we made this rule that every day he has to taste one new thing. And even if he doesn't like it, even if he doesn't eat it, it's just the fact that he's trying something new. He's understanding produce, and a lot of kids don't know what so many ingredients are. So I've just been trying to educate him, and I've found that he wants to like these things. So getting him in the kitchen and cooking with me has been amazing, because he's just really, he's picking it up for starters. Like I think probably our favorite summer dishes too, I would say. One being homemade tacos. So we do a really beautiful crumbed fish that we bake in the oven that's healthy. And then he loads up all the ingredients on top of the tacos. And it's great because we put so many different toppings in the middle of the table, and we just say, you've got to put 3 different toppings. So it could be grated carrot or pico de gallo, like a, you know, tomato salsa, or some vegetables are getting into his system, because I think if we let our kids eat whatever they want, they'd never choose vegetables. So it's giving them the choice and compromising as well. So we've been doing that a lot. And probably the second, I mean, it's got to be fish and chips. So we make that at home as well. And he's obsessed with that too. So we obviously eat a lot of seafood in this house, especially in summer.
I've eaten fish and chips in Australia, and it's quite something. I mean, it's quite amazing. So I can imagine.
Yeah.
So you were talking about, you know, Indian flavors and classical French techniques as you have studied, and your new cookbook is out. And its name is, of course, My Indian Kitchen, a simple approach to the flavors of India. And tell us a little about who this book is written for. Who are you looking at to be the people who learn to, you know, cook Indian food with this? And will it, of course, have Sarah Todd tweaks in it? And do you think that people back in India here would also learn new things with this? Would they be interested? And if you had to choose from the book, which is the one recipe that you think everyone should try? A lot of questions, one after the other.
Yeah, so my Indian kitchen came about because for me, when I got to India, I did find it quite overwhelming with all the different dishes and all the different techniques. And when I broke it down, I realized it's not actually that complicated. It's just understanding the flavors that go together, some of the different dishes, if it's South Indian or North Indian. There's a couple of select things or ingredients that make it that region. And so in this book, it's aimed at, I would say, to a couple of different audiences. If I'm looking at Australia, it's aimed at all the Australians that are not used to cooking Indian cuisine and tend to think it can be quite heavy at times. So the dishes throughout the book are, very fresh, very summery, very light, and that is what Indian cuisine is. And that's the home food that people eat on a day-to-day basis in India is really light and fresh. And so I wanted to showcase that side of Indian cuisine. And then it's also to the younger generation in India who are now not living in the traditional family home. They're moving out. They're starting to, live alone, and they want quick dishes as well. It's the same all over the world. And at the end of the day, we want flavor. So it's just simple ways where it's not authentic. There is authentic spices and flavors and techniques in there, but it's all stripped back. So it's really simplified, and you can literally make meals that take 10, 15, 20 minutes, and they're incredible. And I share them with my friends and family, and they're just blown away with the flavor, and they can't believe that it really only does take 15 minutes. So that's the aim.
Yeah. And a recipe you think that, we should be looking at for summer from the book, one of your favorites that you think we would enjoy for summer?
There's one page in the book, and I'll send it to you, and it's all basically dishes that were cooked on the barbecue. So I've got tandoori prawns. So they're big king prawns, skewered, marinated, then grilled on the barbecue. Then we've got charred corn, which is, so traditional in the streets of Mumbai, and with a really beautiful spice marinade. And yeah, a few other dishes there, really summery, just quick, simple marinades on the barbecue.
So Sarah, all this sounds really exciting. Would you have like a copy with you just so we can see how it looks?
Of course, and there's one on its way to you as well, but here it is. And there is so many beautiful pictures from India inside. I'll show you a couple, but it's turned out so amazing. I have to show you, this was in Rajasthan. So some really beautiful pictures from all across Rajasthan. And
nice. You've always been very immersed in the food that you finally, I think, to get the influences, you really sort of immerse yourself into the landscape and the culture. So that really cool.
You have to, I think, in any country or culture, you have to really live and be amongst it to really get to know the culture, I think. And there's the prawns I was talking about.
Yes, they look really good. I have a barbecue now, so I know that I'm also good.
Oh, really? Nice. Yeah, so there's lots of really beautiful shots all over. Like, I just had the best time photographing everything because there's just so much beauty and color in India, and it just, really nice to capture that. So you'll get to get a copy of this very soon.
So much. Thank you. Sounds amazing. So, of course, when you came all those years ago, I remember the time when you came so many years ago to India, did you have any inkling at all that, this country would be so important to you and you so important to this country? Tell us what you think now when you think back on these last 6 years.
I think this last 12 months has been a massive time for reflection on what has happened over the last 6 or 7 years. And I just feel so thankful that I got to live this life, and it's changed me as a person. It's grown, the way that I think. And I think everyone in India is so incredible and warm and hospitable. And I think it really taught me a lot. So just the experience that I've had in India is amazing. And I could never have guessed that something like this would have happened. But yeah, I mean, I just am so happy that it did. And I think lots of things align for these kind of experiences to happen. And I was so open to it, and landed in India, this young girl, and all on my own, and working through so many businesses and different things in India. And it's just been such an incredible experience. And I think just seeing the support that I've gotten throughout India, and also the people who I've been inspiring as well, has been such a driving force, because I just love that I can give a little bit back to the younger generation and encourage them to, you know, follow their dreams, work hard, and create a business out of something that can be really amazing.
Yeah. No, I mean, you've been called India's daughter-in-law, right? And now it's time to ask you what you're going to do in the future, because 2 cookbooks, numerous food shows, so many great collaborations. You can tell us something about those as well. But what are you looking forward to doing? I know you have some plans, in the months coming forward. So tell us a little about that as well.
Yeah, so I'll be back to India very shortly, which is exciting. First of all, to launch the cookbook is the first thing that I'll be doing. And I've been moving a bit more into products now as well. So it gave me that time of this last 12 months to really delve into that side. So I've been working on a range of chili sauces, which will be coming out, inspired by the world, but a lot to do with India and the beautiful chilies from Bachalokia and Kashmiri chilies and all these incredible flavored chilies. Because I just feel like another misconception is that Indian food is really, really hot. It's not about heat, it's about the flavor from those chilies. So you can get a really mild dish that's using gentle Kashmiri chilies, and it's just got the flavor, the color, the, you know, depth in the dish, and it's not necessarily that spicy. So I've just wanted to explore that side of things a little bit more.
That sounds really exciting. So you've been away now. I think this probably is the longest period of time, is it, that you've been away from India?
By far. I don't think I ever left India for longer than maybe 2-3 months max. I was always back and forth to India very regularly.
Yeah. So
well and truly overdue.
Well, we're really looking forward to having you back. I know. But what have you already planned what you're going to be doing when you come back? You know, have you decided what you're going to be, you're waiting to sink your teeth into?
Of course. Yeah. Be eating pupti chaat, because I can't make it the same here as how I get it in India. I honestly just going to be eating all the authentic, beautiful Indian food. Of course, making a trip to Antares and Goa, and getting everything back in order, and relaunching a new menu, and then whatever else is coming up, it'll keep me very busy, I'm sure.
I'm sure. And I mean, it's been an absolutely interesting and invigorating discussion. Thank you so much. It is always such a pleasure to speak with you, Sarah, and I'm looking forward to doing that in person and not across these many, many, many thousands of kilometers. Thank you so much for making the time. We're really looking forward to seeing you in India again, and all the really very, very best in everything that you're putting together, both now and in the future. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. I just really can't wait to get back to India. And I think there's like a piece of my heart that's still waiting there at the moment. So I can't wait to just come back and see all the beautiful faces and just get back into my second home, I suppose. So thank you so much for having me on, and it's always a pleasure. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you in person and giving you a hug soon.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Sarah.
Thanks.